Hey gang, it's Jay from JTech and welcome to another JTech video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the iPhone 5. What does the iPhone 5 mean in 2022 and how has this phone helped shape the Apple vision today? Now before we get into this video and before we get into the modern meaning of the iPhone 5, let's take you back to a decade and more. In 2011, Apple launched its very first post-Steve Jobs iPhone, which was the iPhone 4S. Things like Siri and a much more refined networking structure made sure that the iPhone 4S was a hot topic and hot seller in 2011. Also that same year, Apple's best friend and partner in crime, Samsung, released a device that pretty much shook up the entire mobile industry. That's right, folks. In 2011, 5.3 inches was seen as a behemoth of a screen size. I'm not going to focus too much about the Galaxy Note, but at the time, the iPhone was seen as a very small phone when it came to functionality. And so many people thought that after the passing of Steve Jobs, Apple might be willing to take more risks that would have rubbed Big Steve the wrong way.
When you think about your iPhone, it's probably the object that you use most in your life. It's the product that you have with you all the time. With this unique relationship people have with their iPhone, we take changing it really seriously. And for the first time ever, we've increased the size of the display. By making the screen taller but not wider, you can see more of your content but still comfortably use it with one hand.
Fast forward to 2012 and Apple produced the very first iPhone that deviated from the 3.5-inch form factor. And the rest, as they say, is history. Let's just talk about what the iPhone 5 means in 2022. In terms of hardware, this is a very small phone. And I'm not gonna lie, back in 2012 when I first saw this phone, I was in love with it. The black slate version of the iPhone 5 today still remains the best looking iPhone I've ever seen. And if you saw my video titled The Best Phones of the Decade, I named the iPhone 5 at number 10, seeing as it has been one of the most revolutionary iPhones in a very long time. The very first iPhone that deviated from the default 3.5-inch screen size and had so much more going for it. Fast forward to 2022, we have phones like the iPhone 13 mini, which is in the same mold as that of the iPhone 5, but a bit larger than its predecessor. The iPhone 5 still feels solid, well-built aluminum with a chamfered edge and a flat screen, none of the 3D edge back glass that we've gotten used to phones from the last 4 or 5 years. Now this is a very handy phone and a very pocketable phone. The tiny 1136 by 640 IPS LCD display, or Retina HD by Apple, might not suit the current standard of OLED or AMOLED displays, but if you do not mind the screen size, screen resolution, outdoor visibility, and so much more regarding the display, it's a very serviceable display with much more accurate colors that you might favor in place of the oversaturated AMOLED or OLED displays that are even present in Apple phones in this day and age. Of course, the standard is true wireless headphones and Bluetooth, but for musical purists like me, nothing will ever beat the convenience of the headphone jack. And let's get to the most important part of the iPhone 5 in 2022, and that's the battery life. And sad to say, this phone hasn't held up with current smartphone usage standards. iPhone in 2012 came out with the Apple A6 processor and a gig of RAM. And I know that sounds crazy, but believe me, in 2012 that was the standard. Fast forward 10 years later, and operating this phone just feels natural as operating something in 2022. Of course, with a lack of a high refresh rate 90Hz or 120Hz LTPO display, the iPhone 5 had a 60Hz 4-inch Retina HD display that came with a resolution of 1136 by 640 with a staggering battery capacity of 1440 milliamp hours. Of course, this thing will not survive the modern standard of smartphone that requires you to watch a lot of TikTok videos, YouTube, or even Netflix. The version in this video is the white silver version, which does look very, very good, I might add, but has a few visible scratches and hitches here and there. Let's not forget that the iPhone 5 was the very first Apple device to ship with a different data port, which was the Lightning connector. And this was a huge uproar at the time when many people got a lot of 30-pin charge peripherals such as Bluetooth speakers. It's not a surprise to see Apple take out so many things that come at the inconvenience of many customers. But fast forward to 2022, this standard is still used on many an Apple device. And with rumors of the iPhone 14 becoming the first portless iPhone, it's still going to be a very, very hard adjustment period for many Apple users out there. The iPhone 5 for 2012 standards had a very good camera. Of course, I'm not going to compare it to the current standards of camera that adopts multi-lens setups, ultra-wide cameras, and night mode settings, but I would look at it from what this phone offers. This phone had an 8-megapixel camera and a front-facing 2-megapixel camera that took relatively good selfies, and the rear camera supported HDR shooting. Of course, you won't get anything crazy like portrait mode or cinematic mode, but of course you might not use it to post some of your images on Instagram. But if you just want something to take a picture of, oh, this phone is there for you. Capable of shooting 1080p video at 30 frames per second, the iPhone 5 does have relatively good video quality for 2022 standards. For Zoom calls and Google Meet calls, it's very, very good for that. Of course, it won't have high quality FaceTime calls like you get on much higher end iPhone devices, but it's still usable for applications such as Zoom or Google Meet. And so in that case, I'd say the iPhone 5 in 2022 is serviceable, but it's a relic of a bygone time, and we should respect this phone for what it brought to the industry. And my gosh, did this phone bring a lot. Well, that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section down below, have you used the iPhone 5? Did you own the iPhone 5? What were your thoughts about the iPhone 5 when it first launched in 2012? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss on an upload, hit the bell button. It's been Jay from JTech. Talk to you guys next time.